there, this is Malorian, and this will be a just Paintisode. What a Paintisode is where you don't need to be watching this. Go and grab some hobby stuff, whether it's painting, gluing, whatever it is, or if you're just trying to listen to something while you're falling asleep. And then here I am. I'll be doing this for about an hour, and then at the end of that, I'll be having something painted, hopefully. You'll have something done, and it's just good for everyone. And I have some stuff I'll be want to chatting about. You know, some stuff that's been going on, some things coming up, and hopefully it'll be fun for everyone. So, what I am going to be painting here is Osram. Now, Osram is a dwarf caster, Seer Forge for mercenaries, and I just kind of picked him up. To be brutally honest, I almost don't even feel like playing him, but he's somebody that's not painted, and I was like, yeah, let's go do that. It is really interesting, the whole idea about how there are 3 hard set camps in Seer Forge. You know, we only have the 3 casters, so I guess that's going to set you up for it, but, you know, we only have Gorton, Durgan, and Osram. That's it. That's what we have for our casters, and there's like set camps of who is the best caster of the 3. You know, some just swear, like, it's Gorton. And to me, that's my side. I love Gorton. I think he's amazing. Focus 5 kind of sucks, but he has amazing feat and amazing spells. Other people love Durgan, and I'm almost moving towards that camp because there's some really cool things there, but there's those people who swear by that, and then there's also some people who swear by Osram. And it's so weird because, at least to me, that doesn't happen in any other faction. You know, when I'm playing Signar, you know, sure, everyone agrees that Haley 2 and Kane 2 and Siege and whatever are good casters, but there's not like big debates about like, but which one's the best and all this stuff, right? It's just like, yeah, they're all good. Take one of them, 2 of them, whatever, you're good to go. So it is kind of interesting with that. Now, part of the reason too, well, I am going to have almost no need, no drive to be playing this guy, is also the fact that I am really, and it's so weird because I'm almost trying to fight it. I don't even want to say it, that I'm all in on Cephalix right now. I really like the Thexus list. There's not a lot of ways to, okay, I don't want to say that, but clearly Cephalix has a limited number of models right now. So there's not a lot of ways you can build it. Their biggest options right now on what units you want to dominate and bring in. And so I found out right away that I love having my Alexia there, love having the press gangers there. A lot of other Cephalix players are saying, what are you doing with the press gangers? That's stupid. But it's been working out great. And so Thexus Tier 4, I've been loving. It's been a great list, been doing very, very well for me. And then I finally got to play Siphon, and that Siphon list kicked butt. So really looking forward to that. Plus, on the weekend here, I'd already, again, for 2016, I'm playing it painted, so I needed them painted for that gaming day, but it really was just like, here's one, a 5-minute paint job. So this here, pretty good, you know, 5 minutes, and this is what I have here. Basically, it was like, it was primed, that was done before, and then it was a quick skin, quick metal, dot for the red eye, green for the pants, fast little, like just the big tubes here on the back, done. 5 minutes, and from across the table, it's like, yeah, that's a wrecker. Sure, it's good to go. So that was good enough for my painted type of campaign, but I wanted them actually painted. So over this weekend, it was kind of a slow weekend, and I just finished them off. You know, the nice thing is that after that groundwork was done, it wasn't too much harder just to take the rest of the way. Again, made easier by my low quality of work, but still, it was pretty easy to finish them off. And now I got 6 records. I keep on like staring off camera, but that's because oh god, oh, there you go. So I got the 6 records all fully painted, ready to go, and as I try and fix this, that was a horrendous idea. I should have just left the camera on me, but they're all ready to go. So you know, that list is kicking butt. The other Thexus list kicking butt. And so that's really looking like my pairing right now. I kind of would like to sneak in the Buccaneers or something else. But man, these lists, for as far as like being competitive, are doing amazing. Now, I already talked about in my last video about how originally I was going to go with 7 wreckers, brought it back down to 6 because then I can go to tier 4, and it's way better for the list for Siphon. You know, getting all those troops in there and all the drudges, the free unit drudges. So that's going to be my list. I'm going to be playing for at least a while. Actually, I'm going to be selling off this 7th one. You know, feeling kind of silly now, buying the 7. You know, I just went like all in, let's go wreckers, and then realized, ooh, that's probably not the right thing to do. And it's the second time I did this. The same thing happened to me when I bought, what was it, 6 Centurions? I still have like, oh no, I got rid of the spare one. I sold that one too. So at least now I've kind of recouped my money, some of my money from my mistakes, but what are you going to do? But one of the silly things I was talking to my brother about, maybe I should be painting. While I'm yapping here, I should be getting some painting done. I was talking to my brother about how I was actually almost kind of bothered saying that I was all in Cephalix, because as crazy as it sounds, I almost feel like I'm jumping on the bandwagon. And that's because in my dojo, where I'm chatting with other people, one of my main friends I'm chatting with, and he's just getting into Cephalix, so we're both doing the same thing at the same time. In my small group that meets here every week, the other guy there, he plays Cephalix, you know, double, you know, Thexus and Siphon. So it seems like, even though this is a really like out there faction, and really when you look at the averages, not a lot of people play Cephalix. Just given my area here in my communication, it's like, wow, it seems like as me playing Cephalix, I'm kind of a sellout. In fact, one of my friends, the one that I was talking about with the dojo online, it was like, so did you start because I started, or how did that all work? Because it really just seemed like at the same time, we're like, let's do this, Cephalix. And, I mean, of course, when the all-in-one army box came out, that's a really good time to start playing them. And that's the time that we did. So I'm trying to decide here how I'm going to be painting this model, and I think I might start with the brown. One of the things I found is that whenever I'm painting Signar models, my way of painting matches up very easily. Whenever I do the mercenaries, for the most part, it works out very easy. But the dwarves, for some reason, just with the stuff that they're wearing, it just does not match up well. You know, whereas I like to have like one main color and then just a few highlights, it's not really seeming to be set up perfectly for that. So I'm going to start doing some of the brown on here. All I've done so far for this is, of course, primed it, and then I made them all the main green color that I make my mercenaries. And then after that, I just threw on the skin color, did a little bit of silver for the weapon, and then the gold on the axe. And then I said, like, ooh, I should be saving this for a Paintisode. So that's basically how far I got before I realized I should maybe hold back on that. And hopefully you guys appreciate it. I always get some comments. There's like a little subset of people that really love the Paintisodes. So whenever I can, I'm going to try and sneak these in. It's always tempting just to do, you know, just paint while watching some other videos. You know, I got, not that I'm trying to turn you away from my Paintisodes, but of course there are a lot of other YouTubers out there. I always like to catch up and watch their stuff. And so, you know, I do the same thing that you guys are hopefully doing right now, where I go to their channels and I like to watch the battle report or whatever they're doing there while I paint up my stuff. So I gotta kind of pull myself back now and then and say, no, let's do something for my channel here and actually do a Paintisode. So, like I said, those two lists, Thexus and Siphon, are ones that I'm really wanting to practice up here. Come on. The stupid new brown that I did just won't... Oh, now it's going to stay open. For camera, it'll stay open. And as soon as I put down, is that going to close? Ah, look at you. As soon as I start talking about it. But anyway, I do have some events coming up. that I definitely am looking forward to seeing how this is going to be doing. For starters, I have one event. However, it's going to be a totally fun event. This one here is for a guy's birthday party, and he said, you know what, let's just have a fun scramble. So he just, invited over some choice people, and then, once he got to 8, cut it off there, and said, all right, this is great. We'll come over, we'll play a little scramble with just us, and it should be a lot of fun. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure was clear right away was like, okay, this is we're all gonna jank this up, right, guys? That's what's happening here. Are these supposed to be medals? I just started painting like there's little badges here. Oh, I'm not even showing you, but God, right there are like these what I thought was just like the strap going up as I was mindlessly painting, and now I'm realizing that those are probably badges. So I'm going to have to repaint that. Oh yeah, now this thing closed. Stupid defective bottle. But yeah, so that one there is going to be a jank event. And I'm trying to decide what lists I want to play. My whole play it painted is still kind of limiting me. So I at first I was like, oh, I could do gators or I could do circle. But I don't really have all the stuff painted that I'd need to play the type of list I want to play. And so I started thinking about some little janky things I could play that are painted, and one of the ones I'm liking the look of is actually Haley 3. Now, Haley 3 is actually, a good caster, so you're probably kind of raising your eyebrow and like, okay, how is this janky? And that's because I'm going to be running her with a bunch of jacks. I'm going to be running her with a Stormclad, Dynamo, Defender, Cyclone, Reliant, and Ironclad. So I got 6 heavies. She has the focus to run them, so that'll work out well. And then really with her Temporal Flux, they'll all be Defense 14 heavies as well. So they should be kind of interesting that way. Maybe I can get off some interesting range assassinations with slams or something cool like that. But overall, it's just something different, right? Like I was saying, there's plenty of people out there who are playing Haley 3, but they are not playing her with the whole like, oh, we're just going to be running a bunch of jacks. So hopefully that will be different enough, and people won't think it too cheesy or anything like that. The other list I'm not really settled on yet. I have a couple of options. I could be trying to do like a Nemo. I could be bringing out Sturgis again and do something crazy there. I could be doing a Constance. But one of the ones I was kind of wondering about was a Drunken Kane 2 list. Now, keep in mind, I'm coming from a Warhammer Fantasy background. And from over there, especially with my Orcs and Goblins, you had a lot of random effects. For my Orcs and Goblins, every single round, every single turn, I'm in the roll, and they could be doing something stupid or crazy or whatever. And I was kind of wondering if I could apply that here. So, what if Kane 2 was drunk and gone to or an actual battle, and how could I make that work? So I had this idea that I don't know what the rest of the list would be, but with Kane 2, at the start of every round, I'd have to roll, and what was it? It was something like on a 1, it'd be like, I don't like the look of your face, and you just would have to start shooting the closest model, friend or foe. Other ones where he just like moves around randomly, like kind of like scattering like a blast, and I have to just kind of deal with that. I have ones where he has to go pee, so he has to like run towards the closest terrain. So I thought that would be interesting. It could also just be absolutely crippling. It could be, maybe it's Killbox, and I stumble and I refuse to move or whatever's going on, running back into terrain and be like, well, Killbox myself, you just won on scenario, haha, that's pretty awesome, right? So that's a real difference between the Warhammer Fantasy and War Machine that I don't know if I can really make work, is just the fact that in Warhammer Fantasy, if you have some odd unit go crazy, whatever. It's not the end of the world. if in War Machine you make that key error with your caster, it's game over. So, yeah, that'd be kind of a bad thing. So maybe that won't be the way to go. Maybe instead I might do something like a crazy combat Sturgis, where even though normally I'd take it with Jax and it's a little bit more defensive, this would be just like a swarm of like Signar dudes running up with Sturgis. Or also thinking like doing that same thing with Nemo. You're like, what the hell? Why is Nemo running at me? And he's just slinging out lightning and all this stuff. You know, just trying something different. But we'll have to kind of look at that. If you have any suggestions, put it down below in the comments. You know, that always helps lead my way too. Also, like maybe something with Triumph. That was part of the reason why Triumph wasn't in the Haley 3 list. You know, maybe I could try the Siege tier, where you actually get like some trenches and all that stuff with Triumph. I could try that out. Maybe some Sloan thing with Triumph. I don't know. Just again, something different. This whole event, there's no, as far as I know, no award or prizes or anything. It's just 8 guys getting together and having some fun on a guy's birthday and probably eating some cake. You know, that's really it. However, the next day, there is a tournament in Calgary. Now, Calgary is kind of like the rival city, if you could say that. You know, here in Alberta, there's 2 main cities, or the 2 largest ones are Calgary and Edmonton, and there's always kind of like this, you know, rivalry between them. And I don't know, it's kind of like more of an old-fashioned thing now. I don't think it even really applies anymore, but you know, it'd be kind of nice to go down there and kind of kick their butts and win their trophies. At the last event, I couldn't make it to that one, but we had only one guy make it from Edmonton. He took first, so it'd be nice to keep that up. And again, for that one there, the plan would be currently anyway to be going with the Cephalix. So going with Siphon, going with Thexus, and trying to really kick some butt. Get this red here for where those medals were. Eventually they'll be red for the goggles, and I don't think anything else needs to be red right now. But yeah, so definitely looking forward to that to being a good experience. This is going to be a 16-person tournament, so you know, a fair size, 4 games. Some definitely really good players there. I believe Bryn Holstock will be there, so I'll have to kind of deal with that. And I don't even know what he's playing anymore. For those who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, Bryn is a guy that's been playing on a lot of, you know, he's been on the WTC before, both the last teams. He's just a really strong player, and yeah, has jumped around from a few things. He's played some Menoth, played some Legion, played some Crix. So I don't know now what he's going to be playing, but definitely a guy I got to look out for there. Probably another problem will be, again, that my brother will be there, so I'll have to deal with him, no matter whatever he's running. So one of the problems you always have to deal with, you know, I always want to go on these road trips with my brother, but I don't want my brother to be there. I almost wish it could be like a parent dropping me off, where I drive there with my brother, wave goodbye, I'm like, see ya, you know, see ya after the tournament, pick me up here. But no, he's got to be there, and that means he's always a threat I have to worry about during the event. So that's also going to be an issue. But again, I'm just interested to see how they'll do. You know, I'll have the one gaming night here before where I can try them out again, but it's not really till you get them to those larger events where you're practicing against those top level players with their well practiced lists, because that's the thing, like on the Thursdays here at my place, a lot of times people are just trying out something new for the first time. So if you go and you beat that with your tournament list, you know, it's not like it's really saying a whole bunch, right? So that will be interesting. And then, yeah, just so many tournaments coming up. And going to be going to as many of them as I can for sure. One of them is GrotzCon. And again, like you guys there in the States, definitely be looking to be coming here, because things aren't going so great in Canada right now. So if you want to come over here while the dollar is low, now's the time. So if you want to come over to Attack X, or come over here for GrotzCon, or for Blood and Gears for my event in October, now is the time when you should be planning to do stuff like that, when the loonie is really, really low. But actually, a nice thing is that for my event, I had bought all those Frontline gaming mats, and I knew I'd be kind of like working with other TOs for mat coverage and stuff like that. But one of the nice things is that whereas they set up the deal, like, oh, how about you bring your 26 mats, blah, 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 they're also letting me have a free pass to the event. So, that's a good way of kind of working out kind of like a little bit of like a renter's fee or something. I can't remember how much they're even charging for the tournament, and so I'm sure if I look at that as a per mat type thing, it's not very much, but still, it's it's just the thought that counts, and the fact that the real is like, you know what, we realized you put in this investment, thank you, and come to our tournament for free. So that's going to be really awesome. Again, that'll be an event that I'll be wanting to try hard at, but all that stuff is kind of further off in the future. Now, something else that's all fun and happening here right now is also starting the announcements of the teams for the WTC. And again, like I said, the teams are going to be very different this year because a lot of people didn't re-sign up, be it from burnout or whatever. Also, like, just can't afford it, lost their job, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people from the previous teams will not be there again. And for a while, I was really worried about whether we get any veterans whatsoever. But luckily, last second, I saw some people like Jeff Everett were able to sign up. And in fact, Jeff Everett is going to be one of the team captains. So that really is going to be good. He's a guy that puts in a lot of thought into these matchups and all these things. So, perfect guy that you want there for a team captain to be leading in the new group. And plus, we got some other real big vets returning as well. The rest of the teams here in Canada, I know in the States they've already announced the full teams. Not yet here in Canada. We've only announced the team captains, and now we're at the stage where the team captains need to go through and decide who else is going to be making it in with them. Kind of like we have like a committee here, so when we go in and everyone applies, they're the ones that'll first go through and pick out the people that they feel should really make it type thing. They'll pick 2 of those to be team captains, and then they'll work with the team captains to decide the rest of the teams. So really interested to see here who's going to be making the team. I really wish I could be there, but I can't. Just not really possible. Let's fill in this thing. Another thing I want to actually throw in here too, I don't know if now is the right time to throw that in, but I can't remember who was wanting, I don't want to mess it up. So I know somebody was wanting to do a podcast with me, actually, a War Machine podcast. I did have the Jank Tank before, and I remember, and I feel like such a jerk for not remembering who it was. They were wanting to do another Canadian War Machine type podcast, and I was hopeful that later on I could take part in that, but just seeing how things have really gone since then, I really can't do that. I mean, if I can't really even dedicate the time for stable and steady Paintisodes, I can't really do, a podcast like that. So that's unfortunate, especially where like some of the podcasts have gone down lately and stopped coming out. It'd be nice to have some more going, and so I'd love to do my part and doing with that too, but I just can't. I don't have the steady time to dedicate for that, and I don't know, I'm already putting in a lot of time. Like, that's the thing, is that on the Wednesdays, I'm already having the people coming over here from the War Machine Wednesday, so I have to, of course, be dedicated to that, watching the game so I know what happened, so that when I'm voicing them over after, I'm not sounding like a complete idiot. And so that night I'm getting the videos going, and then all of a sudden on a Thursday, I'm having the gaming at my place. So then for that, of course, I'm busy with that as well. And then I have the battle reports that come from those games. And if there's any events on the weekend, blah, 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 blah. You know, Paintisode, War Machine 101 on the weekend as well. You know, that's already a lot of War Machine time. And, you know, the family can only handle so much of that. And then, of course, I'm like a Cub Scout leader at the same time. For those who don't know what that is, it's kind of like a thing where I go and with youth teach them how to camp and stuff like that, right? Some of those really simple things. Well, sounds like someone's home. Always kind of creepy when you're down here in the basement and you start hearing sounds upstairs. Hopefully it's just the renter. The nice thing is that if I get murdered, you guys will, well, I guess you can't help me, but you can go and report it to the authorities. You'll see who it was. Oh, man. This one knee is so hard to get to. It's like tucked in within this cloak, way in the bottom. Ugh, I'm just going to have to touch that up after. But we're actually making some pretty fast progress. One of my issues is that my silver is really, really like at the bottom right now. It almost completely dried up. So it's really hard to deal with and work with. I could try watering it up some more to get more out from it. But I know in the past, especially with the metal paints, when you do that, there's only so many sparkles in the paint. And if you water down, the new watered down version just doesn't look the same. It doesn't look all that great. So I always try and avoid watering down the metal paints whenever possible. I've seen other people saying that, oh, you should always water down the paints, always, always, always. But I'm just not really in that camp. Probably because I'm not a good painter. And, you know, I do water down some other paints, but just never the metals. But yeah, either way, like I was saying, like it really is starting to come together. Of course, it's focusing on me and not the model, but where I was really worried that maybe my paint scheme wasn't going to really work for him, it seems like it's doing okay. There'll be a lot of touch-ups after. Because one of the things that thick paint also does is it doesn't really slide off the brush as nicely as nice watered down paint. And so it's gooping over onto areas I did not want it to have it on. And we'll try and do these little metals here a little bit. Kind of crappy job, but what are you going to do? I'm sure as hell not going to be redoing it. Let's do that. One of the parts we have to always kind of decide with this is that with the dwarf armor, it's usually just like plates upon chainmail upon plates of armor. And so for me, where I like going with two tones of armor, it's kind of hard to then decide what's going to be what color. Especially when the two silvers that I own don't look that different anymore. The two I use now are Ironbreaker and Runefang Steel from the Citadel line. They used to be called Mithril Silver and Chainmail, or no, not Chainmail, Bolt Gun. And back in the day, they were very different. But now, I've complained about that multiple times on this channel. That whatever they did, they now look very similar. Little bit different. I find that when I do the wash, it comes out a lot more, showing how they're different. But while they're here, not so much. So he has like these weird like arm rivets coming out. You'd kind of expect like where the elbow is, you'd be having some armor there. But these are kind of coming out from the sides of the elbow. Makes him almost like kind of like a robot. We know damn well he's not. least it is coming together well here. I can try and paint this in here and hopefully don't try and screw anything up. Be nice to me, paint. Don't smear anything else. I only want to do so many touch-ups. Now, his weapons are very silver, and I know it's not coming over well, but he also has like these gauntlets, and if I make them silver too, that's really going to blend in. So I don't know what I want to do there. I could go to something like a gold somewhere to make it look different, but I found with, who was it, Durgan, when I was trying to do a lot more gold onto him, it didn't really look that great, so I'm kind of not wanting to go to gold if possible, but I might have to. Again, it's just nice to see that this is going to go through so fast. You know, I might as well be talking about Osram and why he's so good, or why people think he's so good, and that's really because, first of all, he's a dwarf caster, so we automatically have Earthbreaker in the conversation, and then he's also a guy with Snipe. So Snipe really extends that threat of the Colossal, and if that wasn't enough right there, extending your threat by 4 inches, his feat also increases the speed of the Earthbreaker as well. And so between increasing the speed and having Snipe on the gun, you can really reach out and touch a lot of casters who really think they're safe. Now, apart from that, he doesn't have a lot of super great spells. Let's pull this out. So he has Bullet Dodger, which is actually kind of nice on himself, because then against range he becomes a 16-17. So that's really decent for making him survivable. Energizer, which would be cool, except you can't Energizer a Colossal. So, I mean, I guess the Energizer kind of makes up for him being slow. You know, you can always kind of like charge your own model and then Energizer to a different location, so you don't have to actually attack your own model. And so that's a good way of getting Osram up the field quickly, and then as well, you know, not killing your own guys. But at the same time, Osram doesn't need to really be that far up, really. He also has Fire for Effect. That can be okay. You know, putting that on Gorman or Epic Iris. I know Hearn and Joan are two people I've heard they like putting that spell on. So there are some different options there. Also has on Stranglehold. Now, Stranglehold would be good if you had an Arc Node. It's a range 10, POW 11, and a model damaged by this has to forfeit either their movement or their activation. So, first of all, it's not just hit. You also have to damage, and it's only POW 11, so anything that you're probably going to be damaging reliably isn't that good anyway. And because he doesn't have an Arc Node, do you really want to be getting within 10 inches of a heavy? You know, that can be getting really, really dangerous. So, Stranglehold normally doesn't come up. Unstoppable Force gives his battle group the Bulldoze rule. And again, that can be interesting, especially if you're kind of like having some things blocking your Earthbreaker. It can kind of like bump them away. So that can be really good. Again, it's really that synergy with the Earthbreaker. But apart from that, he doesn't really do very much. You know, he has a hand cannon, which he can kind of shoot off. His axe here actually has the critical decapitation, just like Rias. But I mean, you don't want this guy in melee. If you're getting this guy in melee, that's first of all bad. And then when you have an effect that is only based on a critical, that's also not a good thing. So that part doesn't really matter. So it's really just, again, the way that he supports the Earthbreaker. And oh man, it's just trying to get the red in the goggles here, not getting on the rim. And again, I mean, like, if you look at some of the other ones, that's why people say, like, oh, well, sure, you get the range with Osram, but with Durgan, you get those extra boosts on the damage and all that stuff with the blast. So that's pretty awesome. And he's shooting away the infantry and all that stuff. I believe he also has red line to really get it going and going better with that. And for me, like where I love Gorton, I'm dragging targets to me. I can give him +4 strength. I can be using a rock wall to be keeping other colossals off of me. So, you know, that's the big thing, right? When it comes down to the arguing of which is actually the best dwarf caster, they're really just talking about who supports the Earthbreaker more. And I think that's, again, why I'm almost kind of more in the camp with either Gorton or looking more to Durgan, is that when you take the Earthbreaker out of the equation and say, well, what if we try playing without this Colossal? Well, you know, Ostrom doesn't really do too much for the rest of his force. So, and I don't really find any of their tiers really that interesting. You know, one of the cool things that you could do is if you run any of these guys as Searforge, you get an extra 4 inches of deployment, which is amazing. But again, you're only stuck with Searforge, and those are guys that have really, really limited models. And clearly, you know, Privateer Press is not making them a priority for releases. I think the battle engine coming out here will be counting as Searforge, but and then the battle engine will actually be fairly good with Durgan, I believe, but for the rest of it, not all that great. So at this point, I've gotten the main colors everywhere I want. I still have to do all the cleanup of everywhere I splashed paint I didn't want it. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to start working on the eyes, and also he's burying his teeth here, so we'll paint his teeth. Oh, got way too much paint in there. The toothpick can be a very good tool for getting the white where you need it. But I can also just splash it on. Like, look right now. Like, I'm going to be cleaning this up later, but I hopefully you can tell, like, his face looks like just white was thrown in his face. So, again, that's going to be looking a lot better right away when I clean that up. It seems like a lot of my painting has to do with just slopping on paint and then fixing the mistakes after. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the nice thing about painting, is you can always go back. While I'm talking about other mercenary tech, another thing I've been looking into as well was around Bart. Now, Bart, his big thing is, again, how well do you support a Colossal? And his big thing is that between his bend down the hatches and the spiky growth from Snapjaw and Wrong Eye, and their Bull Snapper, you get to have this galleon with super, super high armor. Now, again, it's a little bit boring because Bart doesn't really do anything apart from that, other than just like, here, I'm just going to give you some focus, and at some point during the game I'll pop my feet. But that's really, really it. And so I was trying to see if there's somebody else that could do more with that. You know, trying to find another mercenary caster that also had an armor buff and was part of 4-star, so that they could also take Snapjaw and Wrong Eye. And there's really 2 options. One is McBain. Ah! Wife's just walked in and I got the dukes up. So I'm not going to turn this off for a second. And we're back. So yeah, I guess the sound I heard before was my wife coming home, and she's kind of popped in there. So the little deer decided to surprise me, and here we are. So I don't even know how much time we have left. I believe it's about 20-ish minutes. But right now I got like a comical clown face, because whereas before we had just the white all over, now it's like blotchy eyes. Looks so bad. But this is where I'll now just take the skin and clean up around the eyes and around the mouth, and then all of a sudden looks a lot more normal. I gotta really make sure I don't have too much paint on my brush. I need to have enough, but I don't want to have like a big glob that goes back into the eye, and because that would force me to basically just restart. I'd have to restart with filling it in as white and then doing the blue and blah blah blah, so I've got to be very careful, and this is working out well. Eyes are done. now just to kind of go around. Also what I did is like chin strap some of that got onto the face as well, so I can clean that up. And then now just trying to very carefully go around the mouth. Very carefully. And that lip, and there we go. Looks a lot better. Again, you won't be able to really see, but just trust me, it looks a lot better. I'll probably be posting a picture of this up onto the Facebook, so you can always just check it out there. That Facebook page really isn't turning out the way that I thought it would. I thought it was going to be a big thing for like interaction on these types of videos or my battle reports and stuff like that. A lot of tactical talk, but what it really is turning into is more of a meme page, and also the voting for the War Machine Wednesday. Again, if you're a person who has not gotten in on that yet, definitely go check that out. Basically every Wednesday night I go on there and I post up what the matchup was, and you can vote on which side you think won and how. You know, be it by assassination or scenario. And at the end of all the games, basically every point you have will be a draw you have, and the winner will get $50 purchase from Discount Games. So nothing to lose, doesn't cost anything to play. It's just trying to get you guys, you know, involved and part of it. And just trying to make it more fun for everybody. You know, it'd be simple enough just to be like, oh, I'll just post up these battle reports and there you go. But if you can make them a little bit more interactive, they're just that much more fun. So at this point here, I'm more so now going around and trying to clean up wherever I got on to where the green was supposed to be. And there's not really as many spots like that like I thought there were. I thought there was like all over these spots I had to clean. There's, you know, a fair number of them, but it's not too bad. Oh, there's another one. And then after that, I'm not really happy with these weapons, so I'll have to kind of fix those up as well. But that's going to be really it. So yeah, it looks like I got pretty much all of it. Oh yeah, that little knee that was tucked inside the cloak. I remember you. So clean that up. Alright. So here's the dealio. The gun. The gun is just like this massive, massive thing. I guess I could be making parts of it gold. Again, for those who are used to my painting, I usually try and save gold for magical weapons, or if you're the boss. So I mean, that's the main reason why I got the gold on the axe right away, to show that it's magical. But to kind of like pull out more of these details and make it so it's not just a big solid thing of just silver, I'm going to have to add something else just to kind of break this up. So, and it's not like even either, like it's not really a gun mage gun or anything that's like sometimes have like a lot of gold parts on there. So I'm just going to have to go and make a couple of the different guards on here gold. And hopefully that'll be enough to break it up. And actually, now that I have the gold as well, I think I'll make some of these metals gold. I'd put some silver on them, but maybe getting some of these gold would be nice as well. Make them look a little bit more fancy. And then get back to the gun here. I also see that I got some paint on the fingers there that I'll have to fix up. That's what I mean. Like when I had the paint and I'm going around trying to see what I need to fix, of course then I don't notice everything. It's not till I've washed off my brush and I'm starting to look at the other things, like the next color, that's where I realize, like, oh, there I screwed that up, forcing me to go back and have to fix it again. I really don't have too much gold on this gun. That's the thing, it's just such a big, huge, honking slugger of a gun that kind of really dominates things. I guess if nothing else, making the gun gold will make me notice it more, so I'll remember to take the shots with the Warcaster. That happens so often that people just forget to shoot. You know, like with Haley too. Oh, I'll come up and I'll do this spell and I'll pop my feet and done. And it's like, you get an action as well. You know, you have a hand cannon, right? You might as well fire it off because why not? Oh, yeah. Alright, so for the axe, I think I'll make that part black for where there's some 2 bits. And then there's kind of like this guard back here that I'll also make gold. That should really help making things look different-ish. And then there's kind of like a little cover on here I'll make gold, why not? For no other reason than we need to get some more detail on here. Alright, add that black in. And I think we might be done. How are we doing for time? 7 minutes of the estimated extra 20 I thought I had. But yeah, you know, I think at some point I'll want to try out Osram. Maybe for that whole janky scramble, I should try and figure out some sort... Oh no, I can't. Because I'm going Signar. So unless I abandon the Haley 3 list and decide to do Mercs instead... And I don't think this even counts as like a janky list anyway. Like, ha ha ha, I'm going for a ranged assassination with a dwarf caster. Isn't that so janky? You know, that's not really meeting the purpose there. Okay. So there's that. It looks okay. I just need to fix some of those fingers that got some paint on them. Whoop. One of the things that one of the people did on the Facebook group today is they made the mistake of going on there and asking for a list. They're like, oh, you know, I'm kind of bored. I own almost all the trolls. Why don't you make a troll list? And I said, okay, if that's what you want. So I go on there and I post up the Grizel one that I've been thinking of. Because, of course, I mean, I always kind of dojo for everything because I get bored and I just start to dojo for other armies. And in this one here, it's, of course, because it's me, all about the swarm. And so I have like 2 units of the bushwhackers up front, playing like my press gangers, just trying to get up there and slow things down. And at the same time, they're being followed by 3 units of Krail warriors. And so with the tier, they all get hoofed on the first turn. And it's just like, yeah, there are so many medium models in your face right away. I also have 3 impalers in the list, so that if you get anything in the list, I can kind of just like try and slam it back out. You know, and they can always do some pretty good damage anyway, trying to snipe out some key solos and stuff like that. But, yeah, we'll see if he actually plays it. Last time I saw, there wasn't a reply on that yet. I believe it was Tom Bell that maybe posted that. I can't really remember. But, yeah, if you guys ever want to get some list ideas, feel free. Just know that I'm going to put up something crazy that you might not wanted to have played. So here we go. Again, it's not going to show up well. Let's see if there's any way I can make this focus. Anyway, oh, that's not too bad. So, as you can see, the face turned out okay. Once I get in, like, this is not a wash yet. The wash is going to go on top of this, and I can't even center it on the thing. There we go. And so that's just going to bring out more of the detail. So, there he is. Again, like, the gold on the weapons, you can see what I mean, where it kind of pulls out too much. And so if I would have also given, like, golden armor and stuff like this, it just really pulls it out. And I really wish, especially on the gun, I didn't have so much gold on there. But it's really either that or just keep it as boring silver. And especially for that bottom guard, I'm almost tempted to make that silver again. But I'm going to leave it. So there we go. I'm going to put the wash on it. Cover it up. But yeah, we have some other big tournaments coming up. This is more so now looking to March. We have another big steamroller here in town, and there'll be another big one in Calgary again. So whereas the one I'm going to in Calgary, I said is about 16 people, this one for that next one, I believe, is now up to like the 32 or 28, whatever it is. You know, just another step larger. Anyway, I mean, the big thing that they're dealing with there is there haven't been a lot of tournaments around there for a long time, so they're getting things going, and the one main thing they don't really have going for them right now is just the venues. And as a TO, I completely understand that, because that can be one of the hardest things to get going for you. Is you might have the will to run the tournament, you might have all the mats, all the terrain, but having a venue that has all the tables you need, all the chairs you need, all the parking you need, that can be a huge, huge challenge. And so they've been trying to do it through the stores, but there's one really big store that can't really dedicate that much room. Like they could run a massive tournament there, but they haven't been really wanting to dedicate all that space just to War Machine, because they're still doing other stuff there too, right? If they dedicate all that room just to War Machine that day, then all the people coming in for board games and whatever else, you know, they're just really dealing and conflicting with all those other hobbies. So I can understand that. And then some other stores are smaller, so a little bit of an issue. So hopefully they'll be starting to find some other gym or anything like that where they can run it. But there you go. This has been a Paintisode. I now have Osram done. I'll post a picture of him up. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you guys painted anything or built anything, let me know in the comments down below. I always love to hear that. We also said that please paint down below, post down below what you think I should do for my janky list for that scramble coming up. And yeah, thanks for joining us. Bye.